Hi, everyone. First of all, let me know you can hear me because I'm using a new microphone. So if you give me a little wave, just let me know you can hear me. And welcome, everybody, to the live stream. It's probably the first one of this kind and for the channel. So I've done a couple of live streams before. And just checking. And but it's been years since I attempted to live stream. So hopefully you find here, okay? So can you hear me? Excellent. Just let me know. And so for those of you who don't know me, my name's Fan. And let me just have a check. Oh, excellent. Is the volume okay? Oh, the comments just come in just now. For a moment, I thought I was talking to myself. You just never know. And oh, excellent. So great to see you here. And so it's been 6 years as the subject, the title of the live stream suggests. It's been 6 years. And for the past few years, every year, oh, good, volume fine. Thank you so much. So in the past few years, I've been doing sort of yearly updates for you, and they're in recorded form. And they were fine, and I got a lot of feedback. But the thing is, I got so many questions, and a lot of questions, the topics are so big, and it covers so wide. It was literally impossible for me to reply in a meaningful way through comments. So I thought this year, from this year on, we're going to do live stream and we're going to chat. And so I'm able to share experience with you, but also to get your feedback live as well. And if you're watching this live stream in archive, welcome too. And hopefully you can catch me next time. So really great to see you. Hi, everyone. I already see some familiar names like Nelson, long-time supporter of the channel. And so bear with me. So this is a new thing for me. So it might take me a while to process your comments. And I'll do my best to reply to as many of you as possible. So for those of you who are new to the channel, and I'm getting a lot of new subscribers every day, but I never really have a chance to sort of introduce myself. So I've been running this channel for close to 7 years now. And it started off as a sort of vegan channel. And I just happened to go into keto. And I'll explain to you how that happened today. And kind of evolve into keto-vegan way of cooking. And I love cooking. And as you can see, normally you see me in the kitchen. And today I'm in my living room, in the comfort of my living room. And I've got my tea here. So have your tea and coffee ready, wherever you are. This is 6 p.m. in the UK. So if you're on the European side, then this is good evening. Otherwise, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. And so I've been creating content for the past 6-7 years, and exclusively pretty much for sort of keto way, dedicated to keto way of eating for the past 6 years. And so I do recipes and I do talks sometimes, and anything I could share with you, I try to do my best to do that. And also the long-term viewers will know there will be times that I kind of disappear off, and normally I'm sort of busy with something, but I felt so each year I gain new insight as I move forward with this way of eating. And I felt that support is so important. And now we have the technology and the tools to do it very easily. I really would like to extend, apart from the recorded content, I'd like to be able to interact with you and chat with you. And we all need a bit of support. I do myself. So I can see, oh my God, there are people from Japan. Hello, Aiko. Okinawa, Japan. I've never been to Okinawa. I spent some time in Tokyo when I was quite young. So I lived there for a few years. I speak some Japanese, but it's very rusty now. So welcome. And I also see someone from Norway and from New Zealand. Oh, it's so great you can make it to the chat today, because there's so many viewers. They're so loyal, and they've been supporting the channel for so long. I never really get a chance to say thank you in person. Comments can only do so much. So, and this is Nelson as well. Much appreciated. You share your culinary experience with us. I'm just a home cook. Okay, I'm not a trained chef in any shape or form, and I do my best. So I do a lot of experiments and a lot of clumsy failures, just like everyone else. But whenever I have something nice to share, I do share with you, and it brings me a lot of joy that you enjoy. So, oh, there's someone from London as well. I just need to say hello to all you guys first before I can move forward. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining me today. And so today, I've got a few things kind of I want to go through, and I think it would help a lot of people who are new to keto. It doesn't matter whether you're vegan or not. It's about finding health and well-being and finding freedom with our body. And it has been a sort of revelation and my goal since I went on this journey. And I hope by sharing it, you're able to, pick something. Nothing works for everybody. So bear that in mind. And also, I have no medical training. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a medical doctor of any kind. I'm just a home cook, and who happens to be vegan, and also decided to go on sort of keto way of eating. Oh, from northern Germany as well. Wonderful. Welcome. And so I want to go back to a little bit. So again, go back to my disclaimer. Whatever I share here is absolutely anecdotal. It's experience of one person. And so you can take whatever works for you and use it for your own life and way of eating. And if there's anything that doesn't jive with you, or doesn't make sense to you, then just throw it away and try something else. So and that's the great thing about this journey, is the realizations that we're not clones of each other. We are unique, and respect that uniqueness within you, and work with your body. And it's an ever evolving process as we move through different lifestyles and etc. We might need different things. We might need to do things differently. And it's about keeping things flexible. And what we're aiming for is longevity of whatever we're doing, and do things that actually bring joy to our lives through eating, which is a big part of our lives. So a quick background. I want to talk about where I started. So let's do this. Why did I go on keto? So, and I'll come back to your comments in a bit. The reason, so I share the story with the channel, with the viewers, a few times to kind of touch upon what brought me here, because a lot of people probably have a look at me and go, well, fine, you don't need to lose weight. And I'll tell you why. It's not just about weight loss. It kind of is and isn't. So let me explain. So I've been struggling with my own sort of body, like probably many of you, pretty much all my life. From the memory I have since I hit puberty, it's all about weight and my body image. And as a young child, I was inspired to be a dancer, to be a ballet dancer. I wanted to pursue it as a career, possibly. I mean, I was pretty young. All I could see was that I wanted to become a dancer. And I suppose I probably had sort of, conditioned that there's a certain things that provide triggers for my body. So that might be physical, but also being a sort of dance environment probably didn't help, because it's a profession or a form of art that use your body to express the art form. And you can imagine as a teenager, if you ask any young dancers, they're extremely conscious about their body shape, and they should look after their body. But I was looking at my peers. Everything seemed so effortless for them, but not for me for some reason. I think when I hit probably 12, 13, I started to have curves, which works against pursuing the dance career, unfortunately. And I was struggling with weight gain. And so perhaps for an ordinary person, you might look at a young child and say, well, you're perfectly slim, but not for the dance world. So I think that just spiraled me into inner struggle, guilt trips, and then binge to a certain extent. I had episodes of my life that my eating pattern was just so dysfunctional. It was alarming. So from there, I was looking for solutions for myself. I couldn't identify with, find someone that I could share that anxiety and the issues with. It just seems everybody, they're able to cope with their body. And my fellow dancers, everybody seems to do so well. I only realized later how dysfunctional all the other girls and some guys were doing. But at that time, I blamed everything on myself, and it probably just turned into a vicious cycle. So that was kind of the backdrop of my life that propelled me to constantly want to find a solution for my body. I mean, I was never overweight in the clinical sense. I'll put it like that. And most people probably look at me, I was between slim to looking healthy. But I knew that there were points that it wasn't about the numbers as such. And this is so important because, if we're looking at numbers, then we're kind of lose sight of what we're really trying to do. It's really about coming to terms with your own body in a happy way, not just feeling resigned and just accept whatever it is and kind of just give up on it, but knowing, kind of being able to be at one with your body. And it sounds so vague, but it really isn't. So, but in order to get there, you do need to work on it for a lot of us. So all my life, I was going to sort of yo-yo diet. I would be super healthy. I'll go into some sort of low-fat diet for 6 months. And then I'll lose a lot of weight. I was feeling really happy. But then I realized it's not sustainable. And then I'll gain the weight back and I feel terrible. And then the cycle repeats. I'll try something else. So any diet that you could come up with on top of your head. Maybe some weird ones I haven't tried, but I've tried everything. And, vinegar diet, low fat diet, 3 calories a day diet, you name it. I've tried it all. And throughout the process, because every time you fail in the sense that you feel worse each time, and you become more mortified by the experience. And I often blame myself on why I wasn't able to even just control my own body. It seems so basic, but it was always a undercurrent in my life that it doesn't matter what events I went through, eating issues was always there. So I became a vegan. I think I went vegetarian back in 2007. I just woke up one morning. I go, well, I think I'm going to be veggie. And I did that. And then by 2011, it was a few years after being a vegetarian, I woke up another morning. I go, well, I think I'm going vegan, and kind of just never looked back. So, if anyone's interested in that process, maybe I'll talk a little bit more. But I want to focus on the ketogenic side. So I started the channel in 2017. And by 2000, I was doing vegan food. It was fine. And then by 2018, I think it was May. So is 6 year this year. 6 years ago, and I just said, well, I'll give a low carb a go. At that time, even the term keto was pretty new to me. I had tried the low carb diet before at Atkins. It was Atkins back then, even though it's kind of different from keto, but it's about reducing carbs. So when I tried Atkins, I knew I was supposed to reduce the carb counts, but I didn't understand why I was doing that. All I knew was then you will lose weight. And I think that's a key difference from knowing how my body works and not. And that's why information is so important. And we're very lucky now. We have internet, and we're able to find all sorts of information, sometimes misinformation, but most of the time good information at our fingertips. And so I started to get to know the idea of keto, and I wanted to know the difference between keto and Atkins. So Atkins is mostly about reducing carbs. And there's the mainstream keto, Atkins at that time, no one's talking about being veggie or plant-based. It's all about reducing carbs, but introducing a lot of animal dairy products, animal products. And I was vegetarian at the time, so I was eating cheese still. And I tried that. I think I was on that for maybe about 6 months. And lost some weight, and then it stopped. And then I got really sick with the dairy products. I didn't want to eat any more cheese and eggs. And so I run into another dead end in the sense that it was very familiar, because most of the times if I embark on some sort of dietary changes, other than being vegan and a vegetarian, I never really stray away from that. But most dietary changes I made for health reasons, for weight loss or whatever it is, always end in some sort of dead end. And same thing happened with Atkins. So when I started to look into a ketogenic way of eating, I was very cautious. I wasn't fully convinced. So I was doing a lot of research like crazy. I wanted to know that, it's not harmful for my body to start with. And I wanted to know how my body works. And I actually did that for the first time. So it's not just about someone hand it over a piece of information and say, just do this, that, and the other, and it's all done. I really wanted to understand it with my own brains and understanding what happens when I do something, how my body responds to it. And I think that makes so much difference, because you go in not blindly believe one way of doing things. If you understand the principle of how it works, you can tweak things, you can modify things to make it work for you. So if you don't know the rules, as they say, if you don't know the rules, you can't bend the rules. So knowledge is the power. And those are other people's experience as well. So hopefully what I'm sharing here actually helps you. So I went in doing a lot of research and watching a lot of podcasts, a lot of YouTube videos, and look out for, I don't want to call them thought leaders, but people who are vocal in this realm. And also, they're not trying to sell you something. I mean, there are a lot of, figures on the internet, particularly on YouTube, that they have certain titles, maybe doctors or PhD or whatever, but you don't know what they've actually done. So I was looking for real doctors, with real experience. And I found Jason Fung. Some of you might be familiar with. He's a diabetic doctor. He is a real doctor. He's got a clinic, I think, in Canada, and he treats a lot of people with real problems. And I thought, well, this is pretty mind-blowing, because his attitude with the whole thing was so relaxed that I felt that maybe I can give it a go. He also introduced the idea of intermittent fasting, which I wasn't familiar with. I thought fasting is just you don't eat for days and you just starve yourself. I thought, well, why would you want to do that? And so I started trying out. I went in kind of half-heartedly. I started cutting down gluten, first of all. And immediately, within probably a couple of weeks, I could feel a difference just by cutting off wheat products. And yes, so someone is Jason Vaughn, who is tremendous help to many. Absolutely. And he's got this playful way of delivering really complicated, sometimes intimidating information. So make it really digestible. And most of all, he's a real doctor. Okay, that is so important. Sometimes when we look on internet, is doctor this, doctor that, we don't know what they've actually done in real life. And we don't always have time to kind of vet them. So a lot of misinformation is driven by popularity of the content rather than the authenticity. So from there, I kind of start cutting up, reducing wheat, and immediately I felt a difference. And maybe lost some weight. It wasn't my goal, my biggest goal at that time. I wanted to feel well. And I think wheat product in general probably weigh us down a lot. And so from there, and some of you might go, well, if you feel a benefit with gluten-free diet, why don't you stay on that? And the reason for me is that I want to talk about, it's kind of really important, and that's for my body alone. It might be different for yours. So carbohydrate for me, for my body, is quite triggering. So it's probably like alcohol for some people. I don't know. It's that if you can't have just a little. If you have a little, you want more, and you want more, and you want more. Within weeks, I could be eating a lot of carbohydrate that is not gluten-free, because it's quite triggering for my body. So it's about recognizing what works for you. And we all have different, in a way, dysfunction that we need to repair. And until that's repaired, if it can be repaired, then we need to find a way to work with it. So that's how I started. So the reason I knew I could not just stay in gluten-free diet because I've done it before. I tried gluten-free. People go, well, you have low GI food, and I love lentils and chickpeas and that kind of stuff. But the problem is, if I stay on that, let's say for 6 weeks, by week 7, I'll be I'll be eating bread. I'll be eating biscuits, because I go, well, because the line between gluten-free carbohydrate and gluten carbohydrate is very thin for me. It's very, very easy to go from some lentils to a piece of bread. So I knew in the long term, I was probably going to run into problems. So I was feeling better on gluten-free. So I thought, well, step by step, let me reduce the amount of carbohydrate in general. So I started to introduce more nuts, a lot of plants. I love plants. I love vegetables. And if you give me a plate of fresh vegetables, I'm happy. I don't need anything else. I don't ask for a lot in life. I don't need diamonds or anything. Just give me some fresh vegetables. And I started from there. And so from that point, I could notice my body gradually go into some form of ketosis. And I'm glad that I had seen Dr. Jason Fun's interviews and his talks at that point. So I was pretty relaxed going in the kind of, going into some form of ketosis. I didn't do any tests. When I was doing Atkins, I had, I actually did the test strip test, which is pretty messy. It's not something that I look forward to do in my life. So when I went into keto in 2018, I made up my mind. I thought, well, I don't know when this is going to work. Who knows? If I fail again, so be it. But I am not going to do anything that is going to turn my life upside down. I don't want to buy strips, need to test myself twice a day and be happy if it's dark purple. And if not, I panic, right? That's not the life I want. I made up my mind then. So the modifications I make is to make it as sustainable as possible. That had been my goal, rather than being 100% effective instantly. So if you suddenly just reduce everything, all the carbs in one go, and yeah, you're probably going to ketosis pretty quick and pretty deep. But how long can you do that? Sustainability. So for me, that was the key word. And so I thought, well, I'll go in gently. If it doesn't work out, fine. And no testing of keto. But let me tell you, if you have been in ketosis, particularly, now my body is quite, I think it's fat adapted. It's quite used to being in some form of ketosis. So I probably don't even notice anymore. But at that time, instantly you get the typical sort of metallic taste in the mouth, and also a bit of keto flu, I think, first time around. I went in quite gently. It wasn't very sudden, so I didn't suffer very much. But there was a drop of energy for a little while, and then gradually recovered. So there are signs that you kind of know that, your body is doing something different. And also, I stopped feeling hungry. And that's one of the telltale signs. So before you get this, and everybody's different, so there's no fixed timetable. So a lot of times I'm asked, how long does it take to get into ketosis? So technically, according to science, it takes 48 hours for your body to deplete the glucose you consumed the last time around. That's the science. But it doesn't mean that as soon as you deplete the glucose, you go into ketosis, and and everything's good. Your body is going to struggle because considering if it's the first time you go on keto and you've been eating carbohydrate, the mainstream normal diet all your life, and your body is not going to give up, without a fight. It's going to fight you and urge you to eat carbs. So that's the thing. So that process could take as long as it takes. It could take days or weeks, depends on the person. And so there is no one fits all answer to it, but give it some time with patience and some trust as well. Trust the science, because even though we're made differently, there's a huge part of us are in common, and there's the certain science and the process you could rely on. So with that phase, I just kept going. Yes, my energy kind of depleted a little bit, I remember, but I knew it was going to happen. Not too much with the keto flu, the headaches, and etc. It was more I think mostly the energy drop, and I was expecting that, so I wasn't panicking. And gradually, I just kept going, and I thought, well, if I'm going to be on this thing, I might as well enjoy the food. And, I love cooking. So I started experimenting all sorts of things, trying to create low-carb foods, as ketogenic as possible, within the realm of being a vegan. So I think if you're not a vegan, maybe your choices would be more. But to be honest with you, I never feel restricted. I never feel restricted being a vegan. So eating ketogenic is just another filter that you turn on. And let me tell you how many foods I discovered that I never had before prior to keto. And I'm so glad, because in a way, I think, being a designer, I understand the framework when you design for something that's for practicality. A lot of times it's paradox, I know, but a lot of times some sort of restriction actually creates creativity. It gives you more freedom. It sounds odd, but it really is. So it's about finding freedom within that balance of, I wouldn't say restriction, but framework. And within that, you want to flow free. You want to enjoy every bite of food you eat, and knowing that every bite you take in is not just delicious, but nourishing your body. It really powers your body, so you can do things that you enjoy, outside of food. And that is so important, and it's such a cycle, positive cycle. So from then on, and also, because I happen to be doing this channel, so I get to know that I wasn't the only person that's going through these similar issues. There are people just like me. They may or may not be vegetarian or vegan, but they're looking for a solution for their lives so they can live happily, enjoy the food, and be healthy. I think it's so important because we put so much emphasis on body weight, body shape. If you go to, YouTube channels everywhere, anything to do with vegan, you probably see people before, after, with their pants pulling forward and go, well, this is the amount I've lost. And I'm not saying that's wrong. There's nothing intrinsically wrong. But I remember, maybe it's Eckhart Tolle said, he quoted something that Buddha said, or some sort of priest, a Buddhist priest said. He said, the finger that points to the moon is not the moon. Sometimes we lose sight. We mistaken the pointer to be the destination. It isn't. What we're aiming at, doesn't matter what route you take. We want freedom. We want health. Every moment. It's not how long you live. We have no control over that. Maybe a little bit if you do good things for your body, but it's about living for the moment and knowing that the most important thing is to live well every day and enjoy everything that you do. So, so not to lose sight. There's nothing wrong with weight loss. You know, it's a nice milestones that we have. You know, I weigh myself. I've been, you know, happy with weight gain, with weight loss. So I'm totally with you. I'm totally with you. But it's about being able to step back a little bit and look at where your real destination is and focus on that. I truly believe if you focus on the big picture, then the rest will follow. It's when you go under, you know, go down to the micro level and focus on the numbers, macros. I'll talk about a little bit of that, or you know, whether it's 5 carbs or 2 carbs. It's about focusing on what you're trying to do. So, the topic's so wide and it covers so many things. We're going to tackle it one by one. So this is kind of my opening statement in a way that just give you some background why I'm here. And I'll have a quick look on the comments. I haven't got a chance. There are some comments I want to, oh, there's some in German. I can't read it, I'm sorry. Okay, so there's a good question here by Aiden. Question, why do I feel cold inside my body, losing a lot of stored body fat on ketogenics? It may not be that. It really depends on, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm just talking from my own experience. I think it depends on your starting body weight. If you suddenly lose a lot of weight, perhaps your body is trying to adjust to it. I think sometimes feeling cold is also a deficiency, maybe iron. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just talking from my own experience because I have gone through that as well for a period. And so I think if you're going to ketosis for the first time, there might be all sorts of things happening in your body. Again, as I said, your body will fight you, at least for a while, until you come to terms with it. So how it works is that once your body is depleted with glucose, your body will urge you to put in more carbohydrate, more glucose, because that is your regular fuel. And it will ask for it. It's like a car. If a car requires petrol or gasoline to run, once it's depleted, it will ask for more petrol. But if you're an electric car, it's not going to ask for petrol. It's going to ask for electricity. So it's about feeding the right fuel for the body. So we're essentially switching from a car that's running with one fuel to the other. And that transition really takes time. And your body will fight you for a while. It will keep urging you to go back and make you tired and make you feel probably worse before you feel better. And that is so important because a lot of people probably give up before that transition has enough time to happen. So that's kind of really important part of it, because particularly if you're starting for, trying this way of eating for the first time, you'll run into a lot of obstacles. Whereas I think there's a term that's called metabolic flexibility or something along those lines, meaning that your body is able to switch back and forth. I think it's true from my own experience, and I'll share a little bit more on that. But you want to give your body sufficient time and opportunity to go into a ketosis way of living. So your body is able to go, okay, so now there's no more meaningful glucose is going to come into the body. I need to switch plan B. which is running using fat as fuel. So before that happens, you probably will suffer from all sorts of weird things, and a lot of people come up with a lot of things. Everybody's different. Some will have severe headaches, and some will have, I had some metallic taste in my mouth, but some people might even have bad breath. I've heard of that. But that will go away, because what happens is, once your body realizes that, ketone, which is derived from fat, whether body fat or dietary fat, your body will go, well, I need to use that as my energy source. And once you start using it, you wouldn't have, because if you find in your urine, you find in your mouth, then it means it's not being utilized by your body. Think about that. If your body is sufficient and efficiently using ketone as fuel, everything will be just normal. It will be just used by your body, and you will just input enough sufficient energy, fat and protein, and then it will be just that. It will just run by itself. So be patient. And if you're if the cold persistent, I'll definitely look into maybe some sort of deficiency. That's a possibility, but I'm not a doctor, so I cannot give you any advice. But it's something that people go through. Let me just quickly. So San Wukong, oh, great name. I'm a carnivore now for around 3 years, but I found your recipes very helpful when I started keto in 2018. So San has been watching since 2018. Thank you very much. I find the demographic of my channel is so diverse. There's probably majority of the viewers are probably not vegetarian or vegan, and it's wonderful, because there should be no division. It just seems so silly that there's so many things to focus on. We focus on how you eat and how I eat, and create some sort of division and conflict to it. It's totally not necessary. So thank you, Son, been watching, and I hope I'm so happy they enjoy the recipe here. Let me have a quick look. So Nelson is talking about. So Nelson says, vegan is fine, just make sure you keep up with your B12, omega-3 from sea algae. So very good point. So a lot of times people say, if you're vegan, you're going to die because there's a deficiency. And it's true. I will not disagree. I'm not saying that you would die. You would die, and not because of that. But deficiency for vegan is real. And the reason it's important to point out, so you can supply your body, look into if you have any symptoms that sort of consistent with deficiency of vitamins or any kind of minerals. So you can rectify that. So depends on which part of the world. I think people go on sort of plant-based diet for different reasons, vegan or vegetarian. I personally didn't go on vegan because of health. I knew there might be some health implications. So it contrasts from a lot of people where other people say, oh, it's my neighbor running down the stairs. See if you can hear the bumping. That's them, elephants coming down from upstairs. But I didn't go on sort of vegan because of health reasons. And there are a lot of personal reasons for animal welfare. We can, there's no point debating about that. It's a very personal thing. You make your own decisions. We're grown-ups. But yes, vegan diet doesn't mean healthy diet. It could be healthy if you have a broad range of food, and you make sure that you take supplements as well, because some vitamins like B12, it's mostly from animal products. and maybe omega-3. I think Nelson is more knowledgeable with that. I do my best with supplements. I definitely take vitamin 12 and B complex, and I also take vitamin D as well, because here in the UK we rarely have sunlight, and even people live in sort of sunny countries or parts of the world, most of the times we stay indoor, in a car, in a house. So you could get deficiency of vitamin D as well. And I haven't really sort of recommend any kind of supplements or talk about my own supplement regimes, because first of all, everybody's different. I do not want to prescribe a thing. I'm not qualified to do that. I didn't want it to become a sort of recommendation of anything. It is something that you have to work with your body and educate yourself and look into how you feel every day. If there are things that is not harmonious, then you look into why that is. So thank you, Nelson. That's very good advice. Oh, and here's a really nice one as well. Darling says, love your recipes. I'm not a vegan, so I just adapt them. Absolutely. So cooking is universal. It's just ingredients you use, throw together through certain methods, you create food. And great recipes are adaptable. And, even with my own recipes, sometimes I don't follow to the T. I switch a bit of this and that and the other. And the goal is to create delicious food. And that's all that is. So, it transcends your dietary choices. Doesn't matter whatever it is. So thank you so much. Soy curls. Let me look at this one. Fudgy? Is it Fuji? I'm terrible with names. Some of you might know I teach yoga, and where I teach, when I go in, I'm supposed to take register of everybody's name and make sure that people don't just book left and right, overbook willy-nilly. So when I go into a class, I have to read out, take everybody's name, and I'm terrible at it. And living in London, people from all parts of the world, and I struggle. I really struggle. And I know this is not a real name. This is the stage name for YouTube. It says, would you create recipes using soy curls? I would love you to take on one of my favorite vegan proteins. I'm so happy you say that. Yes, soy or tofu is really getting a bad rap in the keto world. I don't know why, because as a vegan, all the people that I know that's vegan or vegetarian happily eating tofu. But there's another topic. I love tofu. I was probably born with a piece of tofu in my mouth. If I'm not silver spoon, not gold spoon, but a piece of tofu in my mouth. And that's how much tofu I eat. Soy curls, I'm not sure what that is. Is it like a fried crispy tofu? Definitely like that. Thank you very much for that suggestion. So I'm trying to go through. If I haven't come across your comments, don't panic. I'll try to go through it. Let's see. So there's a question. Is that question for me? It says Q. I don't exercise, do you? Yes. I've got a few topics I really want to touch upon with hopefully more live streams on the channel. And, go back to what I said earlier on. Our goal is not just to lose weight. Our ultimate goal is to feel well. And and moving the body is so important. I'm not talking about you have to go out and run marathons or, hit the gym, twice a day. We're talking about functional movements. And as a yoga teacher, I'm probably, definitely sold on that idea. It's about having a body that allows you to move freely. It's all about freedom from the inside and your every part of your body. I'm not talking about, being able to climb walls or jump, over fence. I'm talking about whether you can bend down and pick up something. Can you, if you bump into something on the street, can your body maneuver out of it so you don't fall over and do a triple somersault? Basic things like that. And it requires cultivation of, really give your body an opportunity to move. It doesn't matter what shape or form, any kind. It doesn't have to be yoga. It doesn't have to be jogging, or just even starting with stretch. And this is such a great topic because it goes hand in hand with what we're trying to do here. Because it's all about having that, cultivating a way of living that really serves you and give you more energy and power in order to do what you want to do in life, which is, I think for me, a lot of it is to serve others, to do things that are useful for others. But you can't do that if you're struggling, like I did. Every morning I woke up with this guilt within me, thinking that I just ate something I shouldn't have last night, and I need to fix that today. And that is not the best way of living. And I did that for years and years, and I see myself as, I'm not super smart, but I wasn't totally stupid, or, I'm educated, but I wasn't able to find a solution. And it was because I wasn't really seeing the big picture. I was focusing on my body shape and my body weight. So, exercise is such an important thing. It doesn't have to be anything that's, super drastic. Just do something, go for a walk, go, do a bit of stretch when you're watching TV or YouTube, and incorporate little things so your body can move better. That's all that is. That's all that is. So thank you very much. So I definitely exercise. I don't go crazy, but I do a lot of yoga. Hot yoga is fantastic. You should give it a go. If you have local studios that do hot yoga, give it a go. And good yoga teachers will give you variations to do. So it doesn't matter what your fitness level you are and how, you could be brand new to yoga. They will give you some sort of option. So don't feel intimidated, or even go on YouTube. There are a lot of YouTube videos out there, free, that you're able to move along and see how it feels. Once your body start moving, you will start to understand why you need to move more. So, but give your body that opportunity, at least to start. So I want to see what this person says. Veggie Shiba. Veganism is a moral philosophy. Plant-based is just a diet. Too many people don't know the difference between them. True, they're not always interchangeable. I often use them interchangeably, which is probably not correct. You're absolutely right. Veganism is moral philosophy. I don't know. It really depends on why people go on vegan. I know people go on vegan diet for health, because for some reason the animal proteins or animal products don't agree with them. So it's not true for everybody, but it can be a philosophy. It can be idealism. That's why some people feel so passionate about it. They have to go and tell other people, they're wrong. So hopefully you don't get that from me. It's a conscious decision for me that I know it's a deeply personal choice, and there's no right or wrong. And I'll prove that by telling you that majority of people, my family, for instance, and my close circle of the people I know, no one is vegan. and maybe one vegetarian. Does that mean I think all my family members are terrible people? Of course not. That would be absolutely diabolical. So it's a personal choice. They don't try to discourage me of living my life, and they make their own choices, and everybody's happy. It's very, very easy. Very, very easy. Tofu. You're a person of my heart. Your name is kale. I love kale. Tofu is addictive. I don't know if it's addictive, but I just love it. It's such a, even way before I was vegan, I just love tofu. And also, if you go to Asia, where I was born in Taiwan, in Taipei, beautiful country, and also I spent some time in Japan as well. So tofu is a big part of the diet. It's not a vegan food. No one's thinking, if you serve tofu, it's like, you see a potato. No one is going to bat an eyelid, not at all. It's delicious, but there's a difference between tofu products like tofu and tempeh versus soy products. And I remember, if those of you have seen my talk with Serious Keto, a while back, we kind of talked about that as well. There's a big distinction. So tofu and tempeh, they're made with soybeans on their own. And I know some of you might have some concern in terms of whether GMO or not. To be honest, a lot of food that we're eating and plants that we're eating are genetically modified. So, you'll probably stop eating altogether. So tofu and tempeh, for instance, they're whole foods in the sense they're using ingredients as they are. Whereas soy products, it could be anything. A lot of products using the texture of, soy flour extract or whatever to create all sorts of things, turn into processed food. So they're totally different beasts. They're not even in the same universe. But a lot of times we kind of throw them together and I would say borderline misinformation on certain speculation of, the health implication of it, which, I'm open-minded to be proven wrong, but I'm following the majority, because if you look at Asia as a continent, tofu, tempeh are so broadly eaten every day, and there's no evidence of them suffering from anything more than people from the rest of the country. So I'm just following the evidence. So it's a personal choice, and I think it's such a shame if you just cast it aside and go, it's a bad food. Then you kind of miss the opportunity of something that's really versatile in cooking and also wonderful to eat. Soy milk is just wonderful. So, this very kind person, Dr. Imran Raza. Let me know what kind of doctor that you are. Very interesting. Your voice is very influencing. Oh, that's very kind of you. Very kind of you. I've got the best viewers. Here. Can you do one yoga tutorial? I've been thinking about that for years now. So those of you who have been following my channel for a while and following my journey to become a yoga teacher, I was qualified back in 2019, end of 2019. So it just shortly before COVID, lucky me. So I was qualified then. And I actually created a channel. It's called, really imaginative. It's called Heavenly Yoga, Heavenly Fan Yoga. The channel is still there, but I haven't been able to create any content. It's just about the bandwidth, and I want to focus on this channel, at least for now, and definitely it's on my plan, on my to-do list, and plan for the future. I'd love to be able to create yoga content for you, because I teach students every day. I see them walking in one way and walking out another way. And I know that myself. I'm not the same person before and after the practice. And it's not about how much you can do or how flexible you are. It's about giving yourself that time, value yourself enough to give yourself that time to be with your breath. And how often does that happen in our lives? Almost never. We're constantly being distracted by noises, visual. We want to be distracted. Can you even spend 3 minutes, not even 5, 3 minutes, just listening to your breath? I bet you can't do it. You have to prove it to me. And yoga is that opportunity. It's a moving meditation, allows you to, really to focus within rather than all the distraction from the outside. So I'll definitely recommend it. And yes, thank you very much, Monique Brood. I'll definitely love to do that at some point. Example, oh, this one I don't know. So, I get so many really knowledgeable, really smart viewers that ask a lot of questions. So, Vegana says, did you make detox? Did you make detox, for example, with red light or sauna? Do you mean, do I use red light or sauna? I love sauna. So I have access to gyms. So I love it. And I do hot yoga. I think it's probably infrared light. So it's kind of yes to both, but I don't have that at home as a practice, if that's what you're asking. But yes, I know it's very beneficial, and sauna definitely is very beneficial. So I'm going to pause the comments for a little bit, and I want to talk about a couple of other things. So this live stream, I want to focus on the update today. So in order to give you some sort of update today, it would be good to give you a sort of comparison on the difference between year 6 versus year 1. So let me pull up the title here. So there are a couple of things really important. So what has changed since year 1? So I think year 1 for me is kind of the going to the process with eyes wide open, research like crazy, and try to absorb everything. So first of all, make sure that it's a healthy thing to do, and also be able to find ways to make it last. It was the top of the priority for me, because I thought it doesn't matter if it works. If it only works for 6 months, then I'm back to square one, just like before. So everything for me, the daily routine for me, is to make sure that I could do it every day. That was my top priority. Even if it takes longer time to do, I wanted to make sure that I can do the day after and the day after that. So the difference is now it has become a second nature. I don't think about it. I'm thinking, if I wasn't doing this channel, I'd probably just flow through days without thinking about it, because then by this point, because of the recipes I've created for myself and share with you, I have a huge repertoire of foods. And hopefully, I think majority of my recipes are very easy and very accessible. There are a few recipes probably requires a bit more tweaks, processes or tools to do. The majority of them, they use ingredients that you can get from your local shops, and if not, you can probably adapt to make it work for you. So I have a huge repertoire of go-to foods that I can do. So I don't worry about whether there's food I can eat or not, or what food I should be eating. So now the biggest difference is how relaxed I am. And I want to talk a little bit of the sort of the, I wouldn't say routines, because there's very little routine involved, and that's the great thing. So for the first probably 4 years, I was weighing myself pretty much daily. I've got a digital scale that I use to kind of log my progress, and I wasn't tracking the weight, see how much I lose as such. I wanted to monitor the effect my body had when I eat certain food. And this is another thing, there's not a big topic. Hopefully we'll be able to go into it a little bit deeper, but it was a game changer for me, because till that point, I was kind of just following certain way of eating, thinking if I, prior to keto, there would be reducing calories or reducing fat or reducing something, and the weight will come down. So I was kind of following the rules without knowing ultimately what it does to my body. And the biggest insight I've gained since, a couple of years in, I started to realize that it's not black and white. It's so nuanced. So I talk about this before with a couple of videos, is the importance of monitoring how your body responds to a certain food. Just because it's ketogenic doesn't mean it works for you. I'm not talking about just weight loss or weight gain. I'm talking about how you feel. There's certain food, it's low carb, but it just doesn't agree with me. And or if I eat certain things that's low carb and ketogenic, but my body retains water, so I notice it with the weight gain, and I know it's not fat, because you can't gain like half a kilo overnight. It doesn't happen. Is certain food that cause that. So I started looking to how responses. You don't always know immediately, but gradually, the more experiments, if I find that I don't react well with certain things, I'll take that food off the list for a few days and maybe put it back in again to see if it does the same thing. And sometimes it's terrible, because there could be foods I really like, but it just doesn't agree with me. I remember there was this vegan sausage. I know it's processed food, but occasionally I indulge myself. The carb counts, they were pretty low. And I really enjoy the taste and texture, but my body just doesn't like it, probably because it was processed food, So occasionally I incorporate these foods, and people, I use vegan cheese, for instance, for my recipes. And some people might go, vegan cheese is highly processed. And yes, you're correct. Unless you go to sort of, there's this vegan cheese deli in London, that everything is kind of made with sort of plant-based natural food. But yes, a lot of vegan cheese at the store, yes, they're processed food, but it's about balance of everything. And this is what I meant about longevity and sustainability. If you strive to be perfect, you can look at dead end right now. There's a there's a corner. You corner yourself into a impossible place. So it's about being forgiving to yourself and knowing that you're not striving for perfect, you're striving for freedom and health, and keep that in mind. So if certain food, it's probably has a few more carbs, or is processed, as long as it's within the balance of other, plant-based natural foods you're eating, it's okay. I really think, we need to look at it in the macro level and rather than the micro level. So this is really important, and I'll keep saying that. until you hear it, because it's so important. And sometimes we focus on these numbers, we lose sight of what we're really trying to do here. So I was talking about the response to certain foods, and that is something that you can only work with your body by yourself. No one else can tell you, because no one else has your body. So it's about trying different foods and really tune into how it feels afterwards. If you get heartburns, or you feel bloated, maybe something within what you eat doesn't agree with you. So year one, and maybe the first few years, I was very much into experimenting different things, and also have the joy of creating content for this channel, and also receiving your feedback. So I didn't feel I was all alone. If I wasn't doing this channel, I probably feel very isolated. And so at the same time, I know that having this channel within your grasp, hopefully something that you can pull out, and knowing that there's another person right here going through very similar things. And so that encourages me to move forward with the channel. So year 6, I say, I'm very happy. And, at some point in the future, I want to talk about, if you, for any reason, you start craving for carbs, do I crave for carbs? And, if you decide to have some carbohydrate in your life, what happens? But just give you a sort of a quick summary. This is that in the past, probably for the first year and a half, I was pretty much happy just eating everything ketogenic, didn't really think about it. And then I was doing, I think it's over a year into keto, I did an experiment with resistant carbohydrate, resistant starch, that's correct. And that's how I discovered keto, serious keto, because he had a lot of content. He did all sorts of experiments with sort of resistant carbohydrate. And if you don't know what it is, resistant starch, is that there's a theory, at least up for debate, people have different opinions, is that if you chill the regular starch overnight or something like that, or cold rice, for instance, or cold pasta, it doesn't spike your insulin as much as freshly cooked starch. So there's another big topic, but I remember I decided to do an experiment. So it was first time I actually, had some carbohydrates since I went on keto, probably over a year into it. And I was on rice. I don't think I went into pasta because I just don't like the idea of overnight pasta. And so I had rice, basmati rice, I believe, or brown rice, I can't remember. I was on high carb diet for 10 days. In some way, if I'm honest, I was kind of looking forward to it. I said, well, I have a legitimate reason for science. I'm doing this for science, and to eat some carbohydrate. And I had some rice, and I hadn't had rice for quite a while at that point. Not that I crave for it, but there's a certain curiosity to see what happens to my body. Is it going to explode? I had no idea. So I went in, and there's a video on my channel. It's up there. My experiment of 10 days being on the resistant starch. And I was monitoring my weight as well. And so in terms of weight gain, surprisingly, not much. I probably gained about a kilo or 2, and then it went away. But I couldn't continue because my plan was to stay on it maybe for 2 weeks or maybe a bit longer. I can't remember. But I ended up having to stop it after 10 days because I was getting terrible heartburn. And it reminded me, but this is a crazy thing, because that was what I had on a regular basis when I was eating a lot of carbs, but it was just kind of part of my, you, it happens so frequently. I thought nothing of it. I thought it was just, if you eat a plate of pasta or a lot of carbohydrate, you feel tired, you feel fatigued, you feel bloated, you feel heartburn. It was normal. It was just something that happens when you eat a big meal. And so it kind of dawned on me how dysfunctional that was for me, because I thought that was normal. I thought having heartburn was normal. So I had to stop the experiment. But when I switched back from the 10 days, I panicked a little bit because I wasn't sure all the time I was on sort of this experiment. I wasn't sure if I was able to go back to keto, or I was going to go through the whole sort of keto flu process or whatever it is. Surprisingly, maybe 10 days wasn't very long for my body to kind of flip the other way. When I went back, it kind of just went back within a day or two in terms of how I felt. Instantly, I felt better because the heartburn, first of all, go away and the bloatiness went away. So that was great. And it made me realize why I had to stay on keto in order to feel well. That was an amazing thing. But because at that point, maybe my body was, fully fat adapted. Being on 10 days eating carbs, it didn't really make my body suddenly go, well, my God, I need more carbohydrate. It just went back to sort of ketogenic way of eating, and my body didn't struggle. So that was one thing. So it's so nuanced. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that if for any reason on you go embark on this way of eating, one day for whatever reason you decide to eat some carbs, this is going to be a bit controversial. I say do it, and this is what I permitted myself, because it goes back to what I said in the beginning about longevity. We're not striving for perfection here. I gave myself permission. I thought, if I wake up one morning and decide to have some bread, I'm going to have it, and I'm going to enjoy every bite of it. I gave myself that permission. And it helps because I'm the kind of person that if you ask me to do one thing forever, first thing I'm going to do is run, and you will never see me again. So I need to work around myself and give myself a lot of open doors without going back to the guilt trip again. I don't want to live like that. So I would say, if for any reason you wake up one morning and decide to have some bread, have it, enjoy it, but tune into your body, feel the difference. If you feel great, then fine. But if you start to go into that guilt trip and it just starts to trigger your body to want more carbohydrate, it's time to dial back and turn back, because you know better. You've experienced the keto way of living. The body feels different. The whole system is a lot more, calm, and very little struggle when you eat food. When you eat food, you're supposed to feel energized. You're supposed to feel great. You're not supposed to feel bloated and fatigued and everything else. So the biggest difference is now it's second nature. I don't think about it. I have go-to foods. I teach yoga, so I have a bag of roasted nuts in my bag all the time. And recently I've been having a lot of the cookies as well. I love those cookies. I make loads of them, the nut butter cookies. And so I just have a few cookies in my bag, and I'm sorted. Particularly when you're out about, you don't want to consume a lot of food, and I don't really eat huge amount of food quantity wise because my body doesn't need it. So I'm never hungry, and I don't have to worry about whether I can find something to eat. if I'm out and about. And of course, there's some talk, some people ask me about how do you eat out, and we'll talk about that, maybe in another opportunity. But to be honest, I never had problems. There are ways, being a vegan, I know how to maneuver around ordering from the restaurant. So yeah, so I'm, having gone back and forth a couple of times, um, with the carbohydrate. Occasionally, there are few occasions that I decided to have some lentils. I love lentils and chickpeas. Occasionally, if I really crave for it, I have some. But instantly, my body kind of has that natural ability to kind of go, well, that's enough. I enjoyed chickpeas for 3 days. It's time to get back to keto, because your body has learned a new state of living, and your body knows best. Your body knows it's better. So trust that process and trust that your body, that it will guide you back to the best way of living. And it makes you so relaxed, because I don't have to, be militant about things, and having logging everything. And yes, I was talking about weighing myself. So the first few years, maybe 4 years, I was weighing myself every day, and I have a really long log on my app. But I stopped doing that maybe more than a year ago. Because I got to the point that I just know I don't need a scale to tell me whether I'm doing well or not. I let go of that. I know scale is a scary thing for a lot of people. I say if it's triggering, it gives you anxiety, don't weigh yourself. But focus on how your body feels. And most of us can probably gauge whether we lost some weight with clothes as well. So just let go of that scale thing and don't focus on the numbers. And, it's about creating a way of living in this way of eating with little effort as possible. In the beginning, you need to have that learning curve, but ultimately, you will start to get to know your body. It's a two-way thing. When your body's being dysfunctional and doing weird things, like if you put foods that upset it, then it gives you all the wrong signals. So we kind of conditioned to not trust our bodies. When people talk about cravings, we think it's a bad thing, because if you crave for something, it must be a bad thing, that your body is trying to lead you straight. But it's not true. If you give your body, recalibrate your body back to a healthy function, your body tells you everything you need to know. It tells you everything you need to know. So now I don't weigh myself. So literally, I don't do anything other than just eating the food I enjoy, and creating new recipes. And it's a great way of living. And I'm probably the strongest ever in terms of physical ability. I have a lot of energy, and I feel I have a lot to offer in terms of teaching as well. And it's a wonderful place to be. Wonderful place to be. So we're almost an hour and a half into it. I know it's a very broad sort of update of the state of being, but hopefully will give you some sort of encouragement and inspiration and some insight into one person's experience. And and I'm every day I'm encouraged by the fact that you like the recipes, you enjoy it. I get comments every day, really heartfelt, and and it brings so much joy in my life as well. So let me quickly look at the comments and see if there are some questions I'm qualified to answer. Okay. Homemade tempeh. Okay, I've never tried to make tempeh at home, but I have seen videos on how it's made. Basically, I think it's just soybeans, stuck together in the block and then fermented. I love tempeh. I actually had some today. I taught a class this morning in a club in London, and when I came back, I just quickly fried some tempeh. Luckily, in the supermarkets in the UK, pretty much all supermarkets and shops, they stock tofu and tempeh. I'm so happy with that. They're not considered something so exotic, and no one sells them. Let's have a look. That I have no answer. Oh, infrared. Okay. So, very well said, Nelson. Again, no such thing as perfect, only better. Absolutely. Or even, I think it's probably to do with the yoga way of thinking is that there's no need to compare. There's no comparison, particularly when you have a room of people practicing together. Everybody has different fitness abilities. I always tell them, the practice is yours and yours alone, just like everything else that we're trying to do here. The experience of your body with your eating is yours alone. And you can draw experience and inspiration from others, but ultimately, that's your own journey, your relationship with food and how you navigate in the world, making different choices. And, you don't have to be apologetic and you don't have to justify it. You don't have to explain it, as long as is authentic and it's you, and be okay with it. And you're good. So thank you, Nelson. Let's have a look at this one. This one. Okay, question. Were you on only carbs? That will make me ill. Okay, so I'm presume Martha is not on ketogenic diet. Oh, you mean before? Were you on only carbs? Do you mean only eat carbs? But if you're on sort of regular diet, as the mainstream doctors or dietary experts prescribe, that will be very high carbs. That's we're not only encouraged to eat, consume a lot of carbs, but we're encouraged to eat all the time, because hunger is such a terrible thing. If you need to keep feeding yourself to prevent hunger. So think about that. If you think about your own lifestyle, unless you're in heavy labor, or jobs that requires a lot of energy, then perhaps you need to eat more frequently. But otherwise, just think about most of us sitting in office in front of a computer or some sort of sit-down jobs. There is no way on earth you need to eat 5 times before lunchtime. And I remember it was pretty much prescribed to eat at least 6 times a day, or you're going to starve. And starvation is just such a terrible thing. So make sure you're never, ever hungry by feeding more food to your body. And most food they prescribe is probably high carb food. So, if you're in keto way of eating, you know how ridiculous that sounds and how dangerous in a way. Yeah, it's just, particularly if you fast, the benefit of giving your body that rest. So your system is not loaded with things to do and you have a chance to heal, that is just a pretty crazy kind of notion. Okay, so we're talking about fast just now, and is it higher cheese? I did my best. Do you do intermittent fasting or eat when you want? I've tried the former. Now I'm doing the latter. But they're synchronized with each other, and I'll explain why. So I think it was probably the second year into it, or pretty much the end of the first year, I decided to try 1 meal a day because everybody was doing it. And I suffered. So what I tried to do, and I was doing a lot of yoga at that time as well. So I was exercising, and I kind of discipline myself, or at least experiment to eat 1 meal a day and try to keep the hours apart. I think it was probably up to 22 hours. Um, my body just didn't want it. I was feeling quite unhappy and also unwell. I think I probably did that for a few weeks, and I decided, that's not for me, because I was reading into and watch a lot of content about the benefit of intermittent fasting, and 1 meal a day, that kind of stuff, and I did that. Again, it's an individual thing. For my body, my body is not happy when I force it into do anything. I think that's what I realized with my body, and I want to respect that, because I want my body to work with me, not against me. So anything that triggers my body to be not happy, I stop doing it and find an alternate solution. So what I do now is, in principle, I eat whenever I want. But it just so happened that because I'm not hungry most of the time, it creates a natural gap between meals. So I don't even practice eating early, or not eating anything before bedtime. Very often, sometimes not huge quantities. Sometimes I have a cup of biscuits, or I'll have some nuts right before bedtime with a cup of tea. Let me have a sip of my delicious peppermint tea. So the thing I'm trying to do is to follow my body's guidance, and with a caveat, because again, if your body's malfunctioning now, my body was, then I probably couldn't trust it. But now I know my body fairly well in terms of the cues, and also what real hunger feels like. I know if I'm genuinely hungry or not. Then I'll follow my body's guidance. So there's no fixed pattern with the way I eat. There'll be most days I'm not hungry in the morning, and a lot of times I'll teach or I practice yoga, and so most days I don't get to eat till 1 or 2 o'clock. But my body's fine, because if your body's not hungry, there's no resistance, and I'll have a main meal probably later in the afternoon most of the time, or early evening, and then I'll have some snacks afterwards. Sometimes up to bedtime, as I said, I'll have a few nuts, not huge quantity, but my main meal, for whatever reason, happen, and fit in my lifestyle as well. Most of the times in the kind of late afternoon. But there are days I'm hungry the moment I wake up for whatever reason, and I do not force myself not to eat. If I want to, wake up 8 o'clock in the morning, I feel genuinely hungry, I have some food, no problem. So I'm very relaxed about it. And when we have the more opportunity down the line with the live stream, I want to show some stuff from Jason Fun as well, because it's really kind of paradigm shifting, and it's important. So you don't start to engage battle with your body, because what we're trying to do is to relax the body, so we don't feel like we have to do anything special within reason to maintain the health. There's certain, well, I don't want to say discipline, but there's certain things you need to introduce to your life, but keep in the way that is sustainable. So the answer to your question is, I kind of am doing intermittent fasting because my that's kind of just my natural eating pattern just creates the gaps between foods, and I only eat one main meal a day 99% of the days, and occasionally I maybe have two, rarely, for whatever reason, doesn't matter. But if my body asks for it, I do it. So you start to see what makes your body happy, where it wants to go. And it might vary. It doesn't mean it might vary with different seasons, or if your activity level is different, you might feel differently. So respect that, incorporate all these factors and follow your body's guidance. So, and I think, there are definitely benefits of giving your body a rest in between, but don't force it. So listen to your body. Let's have a look at this one. I enjoy your recipes and lovely personality. So kind of you. I do notice a little redness around your eyes. Well spotted. It was my foundation, actually. I keep using this foundation. I don't wear a lot of makeup, I'll be honest with you, but I'm trying to make a little bit of effort for you, So most of the times when I'm teaching yoga, I'm makeup free, and because you get sweaty and everything. But on YouTube, I try to make a bit of effort for you. But the foundation I'm using is kind of giving my eyes. Sort of upsets my eyes a little bit. I didn't notice before the stream started. I thought, okay, yeah, someone's gonna notice it, and you did. Thank you so much. Well spotted. Yes, but it's nothing. Not because of my ketogenic diet or being vegan. It was just the foundation of choice. Maybe I need to change it. So thank you for your compliments. Let's have a look. So I'm gonna answer a couple more questions and we're going to wrap it up. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. This one, interesting. Tim on the rocks. Eating only green keto veggies is similar to fasting. Interesting. So fasting is about not having food in your body. That's my understanding. So if you eat green veggies, in principle, it's probably not fasting per se, but it probably feels like fasting because it feels good. So I get that. Okay, this is a good one. Do you eat any fruits like berries? Yes, absolutely, yes. So we're very lucky in the sense that not all fruits are out of the menu. Berries are great. So raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries mostly. I think cranberries may have a few more carbs. And also cranberries, you probably wouldn't just eat them fresh like that because it's very quite sour. But yes, I love berries, and a lot of my recipes incorporate blueberries and the strawberries as well. So most berries are pretty good. And I'll share with you, go back to what I said about occasionally if I want, wake up in the morning, I decide to have a piece of bread, I have it. It hasn't happened, that frequently in the past 6 years. But occasionally I crave for bananas, and I'll have a banana. If there are a couple of occasions that I crave for, maybe more than a couple. I crave for green apple. I love Granny Smith when it comes to apples, and occasionally I have an apple. But it's about having, foods that's not ketogenic per se, but be able to come back. You need to have that confidence, and the only way your body is not going to go into a spiral and start wanting to have some cakes or, baguettes is because you get to know your body. So you're able to introduce a little bit of variations, but knowing that you can just let that go once, because I really believe that, desire and craving is part of, it's physics. Anything that creates resistance bounces back. So something like craving, if you resist it, obviously there will be some occasions that, there's things that are clearly bad for you, then you shouldn't be doing it, and be sensible about it. But something like food choices, for whatever reason, if you start fantasizing about having a sandwich, go have it. Get it out of your system. But having that phase, your body is going to come back, because your body knows best. If you, as I said in the example about the experiment I did with the starch, resistant starch, is that my body was crying to come back, because it knows it doesn't feel very good. So your body has that natural ability to find its way back, and you need to have that sort of phase and trust your body. And it goes both ways. So you need to do the things that's good for it, and then it will guide you through. So occasionally, if I want something that's, fruits that's not particularly ketogenic, like a banana or an apple, I have it and I enjoy it. Make sure, if you do it, have anything that's not ketogenic, enjoy every bite. And so you get it out of your system and just move forward. There's no big deal. No big deal. So yes, berries are very, very good. So it's a reply to someone. Okay, I'll let that go. I don't know what that is replying to. So Vegana says, when can I buy your book? Thank you for your timely mention of the book. So it's at the final stage. It's almost there. So just to give you some heads up, so it will probably come out within the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping for the best. I know I mentioned it on in the beginning of the year, and it takes so long because it's self-publishing. It's me doing it. Okay. I go through all the copies, make sure that it's well written and as detailed as possible. So and then hopefully in the next couple of weeks it's going to come out, and it's the digital book, ebooks first, and then the print book will come out a bit after that, because again, it's something I have to work on. So the print process is slightly different. So be patient. But the ebook on Amazon is going to be on Kindle. It's fantastic because you have the ability to jump back and forth, recipes, cross-referencing, and all the recipes are going to have a link to the videos as well. So if you need visual reference for any reason, you can link to it. And that's the benefit of the digital format. And I hope you will enjoy it. And I'll definitely give you a big shout out and when it comes out. So, and so many of you have been so supportive. I know it's the one person, one woman machine that's doing it. And I'm trying to do my best. So be as thorough as possible. And so many people ask for, recipes together in the book format for so many years, and I finally get to do it. And I really enjoy rewriting all the recipes, because it's designed for the book to be standalone, that you could just reference the book without having to go to videos. But you do have the benefit of all the videos up there. But all the recipes, if you don't want to buy the book, all the recipes are still available on the channel. It's all free. So, and most of my recipes will have some sort of written recipe underneath for you. So you can have that for safekeeping. So I'm going to wrap up this talk. I'm so happy that you were able to come here to join me. And it's great to be able to interact with some of the, long-term supporter of the channel. Is so wonderful. And I want to do this more often because I know how important the support is. I'm doing this channel, so in the back of my mind, I always know you are there. But I want to give you that, even more support by being here, that I'm able to interact with you, for you to ask me questions without having to, write paragraphs back and forth. And So hopefully we'll do more of this. And I've got a few ideas that I have for our live chat. So hopefully, I don't want to commit to weekly necessarily, but that's a kind of frequency I want to kind of get into. And, I think we can do with all the support we need and encouragement. So let me just have a quick look of the chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. And I've got one really nice recipe that I have in the pipeline, and hopefully we'll be making the video in the next week or so and share with you. So let me say thank you so much for joining me for the chat, and I'm hoping to meet you online with this live stream format very soon. So thank you, and have a great morning, good afternoon, and or evening if you're around over here in the UK or Europe. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.